instant access to your funds. Green Dot Money Packs are available at thousands of retailers nationwide. And 3, MasterCard Visa. Simply click on the link from the funding page, enter your account information, and fund your account. CapitalOTBPet.com. Log on today.
There's nothing like the thrill and excitement of horse racing. And now, the new home for all the best racing and all the top tracks is OTB TV Digital Channel 8.2, delivering each day the best racing across the country and around the world. Whether it's Saratoga or Belmont here in New York, Florida's Gulfstream Park, or California's Del Mar and Santa Anita racecourses, no other network brings you the grandeur of horse racing like OTB TV on Digital Channel 8.2.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week, OTB TV is the Capital Region's choice for the most comprehensive and informative coverage of thoroughbred and harness racing. OTB TV is the only area network delivering a steady viewership, reaching more than 540,000 households throughout the broadcast day and into the evening. Capital OTB's digital presence also plays a tremendous part in getting your message in front of potential customers. With more and more wagering moving to online, CapitalOTB.com can put your message in front of thousands of potential customers 24 hours a day. And with the addition of our new mobile app, new customers will see your message on all their digital devices. To see how affordably you can reach thousands of new customers, contact Capital OTB's Sales and Marketing Department today.
You're unbelievable.
Now get all the racing information you need right on your mobile device with Capital OTB's new mobile app. Wager anytime, anywhere, right from your smartphone or tablet. Get up-to-the-minute scratches and race results. Watch our morning TV shows. Check out the Handicappers Report. Find a branch or easy bet location and be up-to-date on all our latest promotions. It's everything you need to watch, wager, and win right at your fingertips. The new Capital OTB mobile app. Download it free from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Keen Ice has got him! Keen Ice has won the Travers over American Pharaoh in a dramatic upset. The Graveyard of Champions has claimed another.
Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. And Woodbine Racetrack. Pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border.
Good morning and welcome to Racing Across America on this Monday morning, live from the Saratoga backstretch. The sun is kind of trying to peek through. We'll see how the day shakes out. It was wet, drizzly yesterday. Comfortable, but a little cooler than it has been, obviously. The temperatures seem to have moderated a little a little warmer today, but we'll see how it plays out. They are off the turf, however, today. Keep in mind, though, that there is a duffel bag giveaway. If you come to the track, duffel bags free with paid admission while supplies last. They look really nice, so swing by for that. Low roller contest today as well. Also want to note at the top of the show, if you were watching the horse racing from around the country yesterday, Exaggerator proves once again he is the best mud runner of his generation as he gets it done on an off-track down at Monmouth yesterday in the Haskell. We'll see how things shake out going forward as far as that 3-year-old division now after the weekend. The Curlin on Friday, the Jim Dandy here with the upset by Leia Band, and Exaggerator getting it done down at Monmouth yesterday. All right, coming up on today's show, we will, in fact, talk some 3-year-olds over the weekend with Andy Serling in a little bit and get some ideas for this afternoon as well. Zoe Cadman will join us, former jockey who has transitioned over to a TV racing analyst commentator. And then towards the end of the program, Ellen McHale, author of Stable Views, Stories, and voices from the thoroughbred racetrack, so we'll give you a little recommendation for some summertime reading towards the end of the show. But we kicked things off with our friend Valerie Buck. Happy to have her back on. I think a couple of years ago was the last time we had her, but she's the founder of Act Naturally. We'll talk a little bit about that organization, and they have an event coming up a little bit later this week that we'll hit on as well. Good morning, Val.
Hi.
Happy to have you on board. As I say, it's been a couple of years since we've had you, but we wanted to bring you back on to alert people once again about Act Naturally and certainly the event on Wednesday night. But first of all, Act Naturally, just give us the mission of the organization.
We're retraining and rehoming thoroughbreds when they're no longer able to compete on the track. We have good relationships with a lot of the trainers that I worked with over my career at the track. And while the horses are with us, they are participating in programs helping people learning about mutual respect, healthy boundaries, self-esteem. We help women in crisis. We help teenage kids learning all the great things that horses have to teach us. And we are also have 3 veteran programs coming up in September that are already booked. So doing all kinds of really good things with these horses while they're in their stages going forward to new careers.
And as I say, you're the founder of Act Naturally. How long has it been in existence?
We just passed our 3-year anniversary, which makes us eligible for the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance accreditation. They're coming out next week for our site inspection, so we're super excited about that. And being able to be accredited is going to help, I think, donations come in. We are completely relying on private donations right now, so we really appreciate the TAA and their support for the thoroughbreds.
And we'll alert people again about the event and how they can visit the website and donate if they want to as we progress here. Before we go any further, though, give us a little background on yourself. You're a longtime racetracker before you transitioned to Act Naturally.
I started at Keystone Racetrack in 1983, and some people watching might even not know about Keystone, which is Parks Racing now, but I was started with Wayne Lucas in 1989 and rode some champions there, Charismatic, Surfside, Spain, Cat Thief, Orientate, the list goes on. I worked for Bill Mott for a while, rode some champions there at his barn, and Richard Mandela, and I finished my career with Todd Pletcher, where I rode Rags to Riches and Fleet Indian and Super Saver and English Channel. So yeah, I sat aboard some great horses, but my heart lies with the horses now that nobody has any use for anymore. So we're helping them on to successful careers beyond the racetrack. Nobody
but you guys, and you're putting some of these horses to good use. Pulled up a shot. In fact, I went to the website yesterday and pulled up a shot. As you say, some of the horses may not be known to people coming off the racetrack, but some of them are named. Certainly folks will remember Harlem Rocker.
Yeah, Harlem Rocker was one of my favorites at Todd Pletcher's barn, and I knew that they bred him for a season and then he disappeared, so I went searching for him last year. I found he was in Adena Springs in Paris, Kentucky. They weren't doing anything with him. I was encouraged by Mike Rogers and Stacy Clark to write a letter to Mr. and Mrs. Stronach, and I asked for him, and I get a little weepy.
There he is.
I wrote, here he is participating in our teen leadership program, helping kids that are finding a little bit of a rough road. We're helping them get back on track with the horses. But yeah, I turned 50 in November of last year, and I drove to Kentucky and picked up Harlem Rocker. They gelded him for me and gave him to me. So he was my gift to myself last year.
Yeah, very good. And when you sat down, you talked a little bit about your new facility. And again, I went to the website yesterday and picked up a couple of pictures. Long Shadows Farm really looks like a beautiful facility out in Cambridge.
Yes, it is. Yeah. We've got 165 acres, a gigantic indoor arena, outdoor arena, round pens, miles and miles of trails. We've got paddocks with run-in sheds, and we've got a huge field to turn the horses out so they can be out being horses, being in a herd environment, which is what we really like to do with them when they come to us. And we are having open house every Tuesday at the farm. You can go to our website and find more information about where to find us, but we are doing open house every Tuesday. We'll be doing demonstrations in natural horsemanship and the process that we put the horses through while they're with us. So we hope you can come out if you're out our way and see us.
Yeah, that was listed on the events on the website. The website is actnaturally.org, and ACT has 2 T's in it, but you can pull up the website, find more information about those Tuesday open houses. There is the website and the phone number. Also useful if people want to participate in your event coming up Wednesday night. That's one of the reasons we wanted you on today, to give people a couple of days to kind of plan to swing by the Saratoga Winery this Wednesday, 5 p.m. If wishes were horses to benefit Act Naturally. Talk a little bit about the event.
If wishes were horses, beggars would ride is a nursery rhyme. And then what it means is that it's great to wish about things, but better results happen when you take action. And that's what we're doing. We're taking action for these horses. We're taking them, and as we're growing, we're going to be able to do more. We adopted 2 horses out. They're leaving Friday to go to Danby, Vermont. We have another one pending adoption. We want to keep the door rolling and get as many horses on to save careers. So we're Wednesday, Saratoga Wineries on Route 29, west of Saratoga. If you go out 29, just where Starbucks is in town, it's only just a couple of miles down the road. And Harlem Rocker will be there, and my famous horse Butter. I rode both of them at the Pletcher Barn. We have a great silent auction, some really nice stuff that people have donated that we'll be auctioning off. Big Sur will be playing live music. Tom Durkin's going to be there to help us along, and we really hope you'll come out and support us. We've got a lot of important work to do with these horses, and when you're up in the grandstand rooting for these horses, you have to remember that there's a heart and soul in every one of these animals. And we're doing our part. And we are also part of the coalition. Mayor Yepsen of Saratoga put together a racehorse coalition for the aftercare of all the racehorses, standardbreds and thoroughbreds. Old Friends at Cabin Creek, Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, Heading for Home, Saratoga Warhorse, and ourselves are all part of this coalition. And we're doing different events. There's going to be a 5K on Labor Day weekend to support us. The mayor's putting together a Christmas party for us. So we're all working together. There's great people involved in all this. Diana Pikulski, Joanne Pepper, all the people that are involved in helping the thoroughbreds in their careers beyond racing. And it's good work, and we really appreciate everybody's support. We have to remember that there's a long life for these horses after they're done racing. So it's a lot of money it takes to take care of them. So we need everybody's support.
Speaking of appreciating all the participants, I did, again, pulled up a picture from the website yesterday and just wanted to give you a chance to kind of tip your hat to your team, because obviously to take care of that many horses, it takes a number of hands. So talk a little bit about the team that helps you out.
Yeah, we've got our volunteers. There's Paul and Arlene Lauders, who own the farm, Karen Feldman, Sharon Castro's, and a wonderful photographer. She helps us out quite a bit. Katrina Clay's on our board of directors, Diana Pikulski's there, Marilyn Lane, and there's many, there's too many people to name. Teresa Gennaro's here. She's tweeting out all of our events and helping us out. The Brooklyn Cowboy, there's so many people behind the volunteers that show up at the farm to help with cleaning up and facilitating our workshops. We need help handling the horses and that. There's so many people that go into this, and nobody's getting paid. I don't get paid yet. Everybody's just pitching in their time right now to create this organization as we grow. And yeah, there's so many people, and I thank every one of them from the bottom of my heart, because I can't do this without them. Yeah,
and again, it's a great organization, Act Naturally. It's an issue that has hit the thoroughbred industry and become important over the past few years, certainly, where we like to see these horses go on to second careers, and they're going out to the Act Natural facility and really providing some good work and whatnot beyond the racetrack. So again, if the guys in the control room want to put up the website and the phone number, you can go there, learn more about the Tuesday open houses. You can learn more about the event on Wednesday. If wishes were horses at the Saratoga Winery, highly recommended you spend your Wednesday night over there. You can give a call for more information, or you can go to the website and just donate directly as well. Val, we appreciate the visit. Keep up the good work.
All right, tickets are available on the website or at the door, and thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely thrilled to have you. Valerie Buck, founder of Act Naturally. Again, swing by the website, give a call, and head to the event on Wednesday night. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Andy Serling, we'll talk a little racing today. We'll get some thoughts on the weekend. All of that right after this. Stay tuned.
Now get all the racing information you need right on your mobile device with Capital OTB's new mobile app. Wager anytime, anywhere, right from your smartphone or tablet. Watch, wager, and win right at your fingertips. The new Capital OTB mobile app. In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today.
Shh. Can you hear it? It's the sound of excitement. Something we infuse into every grape that goes into our exceptional full-bodied wine. That was closer than I thought it would be. Now, if you'll excuse me. 14 hands, where great times are made.
Hey, race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Going on now at Capital OTB. It's Bet 100, get 100. Simply open a new Capital Bets account. Bet $100 and get $100 cash back. That's free money just in time for Saratoga. Bet 100, get 100 now at Capital OTB.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. As promised before the break, joined now by our friend Andy Serling, New York Racing Association. Good morning, Andy.
Morning, Seth. How are you, man?
Very good. Always happy to have you on board, talk a little racing and whatnot, but we'll start the interview off because I almost let you go last week without hitting on it, but we always like to promo the Thursday radio show down at the Parting Glass. I missed the first week. I had something going on, but last week was a lot of fun. Jimmy Toner, Frank Generazio, Kieran were there, nice full house. It was a great show this last week. You know who's coming up this week?
Well, I got the man of the hour.
I was going to say, from the rumors I heard.
If you don't want Eric Guillot on your show, there's something wrong with you. So there is something wrong with me, but I'm still going to have Eric on. Tom Morley's going to join me. Joe Clancy's going to come on, so it should be a fun night. Looking forward to it a lot. Yeah, we had Guillot on yesterday, and the show ended at 11, and he finally left at about 11:45. We were hearing every... You don't have to prepare for him. It's beautiful. Exactly. He was fabulous. But again, highly recommended. Parting Glass kicks off at 8, right? Yes. So swing down on a Thursday night. It's good. Have dinner, watch the radio show. It's a lot of fun. Watch the radio show because he's live up on the stage. But you can tune it. And what is the station if people are... 104.5 ESPN, the team. All right, let's talk a little racing today, but I wanted to go back and get your opinions on the weekend because there was some 3-year-old action, obviously, that will play into the Travers later in the meet. Friday with the Curlin, Connect wins. The next day, we had the upset by Leoban with Eric Guillot, his trainee, going out and kind of walking around and then holding him off. Governor Malibu validates what people thought was the trouble trip in the Belmont Stakes and runs second in there. Destin, Mohayman disappoint, running third and fourth. Creator was just up against it on the pace. He was up against it, and he had a little trouble around the turn. But, Seth, he didn't run a step in here. I mean... didn't run a step. I understand. But a stone cold closer, 24 and 49, I can't hold it against him. Well, there are trips and horses that he was last. Yeah. He shouldn't have been last. He should have made it. Look at him now. He's not making any kind of run. He's down towards the inside. Which working on him. Good place to be. I'm not. If he wins the Travers, I'm not going to fall out of my chair, but I'm not taking him off that race. And he was also lucky to beat Destin the Belmont. I'm not saying he ran badly, but Destin did run the better race. Destin was disappointing in here. I don't think he was terrible, but it wasn't that good a performance. Governor Malibu, I think, is the only horse out of the race that you can say ran well despite things not going his way. I think he got an exceptional ride from Joel Rosario, who put him in a position, got him to the inside. He obviously understood the rail's a place to be, but he got him more forwardly placed, and that's not specifically where he'd like to be best. Maybe things will work out for him. Maybe he'll get as lucky as Exaggerator one of these days. And we'll talk about Exaggerator in just a second, but how about going back to Friday and the Chad Exact and the Curlin? These are two major players for the Travers. I mean, that's a good story. I mean, Chad's a big player in this year's Travers. Both of those horses, I think Connect's an extremely good horse. I know Chad's always been very high on him from day one. He was talking about him to me before he ran as a Travers kind of horse, and he's right. And he controlled. Giftbox ran very well. He, too, had to sort of make that earlier move. Probably not the best spot down the inside. I don't think there's anything Javi could have done. I think he rode him well. But both of these horses are players. I think they're all players. I mean, that race got a 100 buyer speed figure. The Jim Dandy got a 101. And the Haskell got a 101. This is where these horses are. They're a very evenly matched bunch. They're an entertaining group. But there's no stars. The question is, can a horse move forward and emerge from it? And I think we've seen so many similar results from many of these horses. I think Chad Brown's horses are the two that are most likely to move forward.
Yeah, it's still a division that has to be defined on the top end because this weekend shook it up a little bit, except for Exaggerator, who gets another win in a big race down at Monmouth yesterday. But as you kind of alluded to, he's just proven himself to be the best mud runner of the generation.
Yeah, he's a very good horse. I don't think that's in dispute. And he's certainly, right now, he's probably the leader of the division by results. He's also the Temperance Hill of his this century. He's a horse that reigns on every big race that he's in, and it's amazing. He also got a tremendous pace set up yesterday. I think Nyquist ran extremely well. His hand was forced by his rail position. Had he had an outside post, it would have been a differently run race. I'm not sure American Freedom wouldn't have won the race had Nyquist had an outside post, because American Freedom ran a sensational race. Not trying to take anything away from Exaggerator, but he's gotten rain for the Santa Anita Derby, which is amazing. He got it for the Preakness, and he got it for the Haskell. That's a pretty fortunate streak of luck. So let's see if they can ruin Travers Day as well and get rain that day. I don't want this horse going forward on a dry track, but he's a good horse.
And because of what happened over the weekend, the Travers now shapes up nice because it has a kind of a kingmaker potential to it.
I agree, and people are supposed to show up. I really hope that Nyquist shows up and he doesn't, take the Pennsylvania Derby carrot and can still run there too if they want. Let's settle it in the race that really matters.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's get some ideas for today. We are off the turf today, so I'll be interested to see where you go in race number 3, which is a state-bred maiden special that was scheduled for 5.5 on the grass, now on the dirt. I went with, in these races you're looking for some dirt for him, and I went 5, 2, and 8. I thought Classy Chris in the off-the-turf event a couple back probably had a little bit of an edge on this bunch. Ladies first. The last few races have been good on the turf, but the 2 dirt starts number-wise were okay, so I went 5, 2, and 8. What did you see?
I had those 3 in different order. I put it 8, 5, 2. True Charms got that one wet track race at Aqueduct. There was a sensational effort where he lost to Riot Worthy, and I just thought he ran very well that day. He's forwardly placed, which you want. I mean, we'll see if we're the same track as yesterday. Yesterday's track, not easy to make up ground on yesterday's track. Hopefully, it's drying out a little bit. And yesterday was raining a lot during the day, so I think that aided the speed in there. We'll see what happens. I like 8-5.
And I'll toss in, just because you mentioned it yesterday, I think it is worth tossing in again. These rainy days, you can find some value there. You made the great point about Rumble Doll, which I still had Rumble Doll on top on the dirt just because it was one of the, it was one of those races where I looked and there just was no other way to go. So I just said, I'm going to stick with the horses I have on turf. There wasn't any, but it was not.
This is embarrassing.
No, it was, it was
really,
not.
Please.
And
Please.
as you were talking about it, I'm kind of sitting there saying, yep, I totally agree with that. The one in the last race I thought was even worse, though. The second favorite in the last race, I think, was the number 2 horse, who had no dirt for him whatsoever, and for a while was the favorite, and he ran 7th or 8th in that race.
How about the second horse being 8-1? I mean, I literally had to look around for 15 minutes to find anybody that had a prayer on paper besides 5 and 8 and 8 and 5.
Yeah, and the horse that ran 3rd, the 3, I thought was 3rd bad. That was my triple. I thought those 3 stood out. He just couldn't get up. But I was same with you. I had it 8 and 5 in that race. They looked absolutely logical. But again, the point we're making, and the horse in that last race who ran out, there was no dirt for him. So on these days, you can find some value because you're absolutely right. The betting public looks and says, well, here's the best horse, but they don't parse out, well, not necessarily on dirt.
Yeah, they sometimes say to yourself, if this race had been scheduled as a dirt race, do you think that's how they bet it? There's a horse here about 5 or 6 years ago in an off-the-turf 8th race, like a 5.5 furlong race, that paid $5. And I'm not a big advocate of huge favorites, but I literally think if the race had been scheduled as a dirt race, the horse would have been 2 to 5 morning line and would have paid $2.80. When you're talking about horses that are supposed to pay $3 and they pay $5, that's like, I mean, just multiply it. Yeah. It's like a horse you think is supposed to pay, $10 and pays $30. It's huge value.
And so, there'll be more of those today, I would assume, so keep your eyes open as the day progresses. Race 7 is one of those races with that kind of potential, scheduled a mile on the grass. Now it'll be on the main track, 40,000 conditional claimers, non-winners, 2 lifetime. I went for the MTO because I just couldn't find anything else that kind of stood out to me. But I can make an argument for Modern Lady, the number 4 horse. So I had a 12-4, and the number 4 horse is a Ramsey Maker horse who last time ran for a 50 tag down to Churchill on a sloppy track. Ran a decent second that day, so at 40 today on an off track, I think that one's the logical in the body of the field. But I use the MTO 12 gain grow. I have a 12, 4, and 9. Yeah,
keep in mind it's a 7 furlong race. The mile races go to 7, so this one obviously the 12 draws well towards the outside, and she's probably the horse to beat. No, I don't love her in here. I don't like Modern Lady. I think that she is a trap in this race because people see, you know, she ran second in an off the turf race, and she didn't really do any running that day. She was second by default. I took a small shot with the 8, Just Be Steppin'. I went 8, 2, 12 in here. I think the 2 is not impossible. Night Madam and the inside, but Just Be Steppin' feels like a speed to me, and I think she ran well enough 2 back, and I think Carol Fisher's a trainer that does a good job when she gets a chance, and so I'm confident that she'll do well with this horse, and thought just a little bit of a price, maybe kind of interesting.
I looked at that, and not to knock the trainer, I just have trouble pulling the trigger on a 1 for 2016.
Yeah, but you have to know who they have. Carol Fisher can train. She just needs to have horses that can run.
All right, we'll see this afternoon. And I totally agree on the speed and on the off track. That could be a crafty play. In the 9th today, this one's scheduled on the dirt, and of course, we'll say on the dirt. Maiden special weight event for state breds. I use Argyle Gal in here. It's a Wesley Ward trainee who raced last year, and I've said it before, lately raced 2-year-olds, even lately raced 3-year-olds. When they get a break and come back the next year, sometimes they're improved performers. This one, you know, the first 2 starts weren't awful as compared to this particular bunch, which I think is kind of a weak field. So off the layoff for Wesley Ward and the class relief, I thought Argyle Gal might be a little bit interesting, but I had 4, 11, and 1.
So basically, it's Monday. There have been like 60-something races this week, and you just kind of gave up when you got to this race. I mean, let's be honest here. We got to be honest to viewers. I like the 2 Barbie Stones in this race for Bruce Levine and Roddy Valenti. Watch the replay of this horse's debut, and it's interesting. The horse that ran really well for Bruce Levine was the 4th finisher, and that horse has come back and run well in subsequent starts after a layoff. But Barbie Stone's badly left in here and then got into an enormous amount of traffic trouble in the stretch and probably wins this race with a cleaner trip. And we'll see. She's been off a year, and they're dropping down, so there are some negatives about her, don't get me wrong. But if she runs anywhere close to that first race, the likely winner. I had the 8 and 11 as the other 2 horses in here, but Barbie Stones is going to be tough if she can run back. That's a big if.
I got that one in the 4th spot. The drop on that one.
So you got to that one late.
I eventually got that. It took a long walk, but
You're covering a lot of ground up here, Seth. I got to tell you, you really are. I'm very impressed by the job you do up here.
I'm trying to keep up with you on the Fox Sports MSG show. Check out that every day, every racing day. Also the Parting Glass for the radio show, and over here on Mondays and beyond. I actually saw you make your first social scene that I saw over the weekend.
I haven't been a lot of trips out, but I did see you on Saturday night, and that was one of the highlights. Besides this, that was the second biggest highlight of my meet.
Very good. We like that. All right, Andy Serling from the New York Racing Association. He's in here on Monday morning. Some ideas for this afternoon. Thanks, Andy.
Zoe's here. That's very exciting.
Yeah, Zoe's here as well.
Better than me.
Who is our next guest, Zoe Cadman, in the green room, and we'll get to her right after this. Stay tuned.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Face it. Most horse racing websites are just too much clutter, too much to navigate through. Next time, log on to CapitalOTB.com. Our newly designed website is easier than ever to use, with all the information the professional horse player needs. CapitalOTB.com.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit RTN.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
I'm Steve Beck.
And I'm Seth Merrow.
Together, we're loose on the lead on Capital OTB, Sundays at 10 a.m. Why should they watch, Seth?
Sit down on Sunday, have a bagel, get some great racing conversation.
Cream cheese only, no jelly. Sundays, 10 a.m., loose on the lead, Capital OTB.
Hi, I'm Acacia Courtney. I'm a senior at Fordham University, and believe it or not, I'm a fan of horse racing. It used to be that we would come to the track to watch beautiful horses run and maybe even place a bet. But today, competition for gaming dollars has taken over all of that. Now, fan numbers are dropping. Why is that? Because new people are not being introduced to our sport. ThoroughFan is a national 501c3 nonprofit thoroughbred fan organization that wants to change all of that. Be a part of making a difference in our sport. For just $25 a year, you can be a part of a network of thoroughbred racing fans. Visit thoroughfan.com/join for more information.
50 yards, heavily poised, here's the line, one dreamer wins and scores a huge front-running upset under Gary Stevens. Heavily poised was second. You have just witnessed a felony.
Welcome back. Racing Across America live from the Saratoga backstretch on this Monday morning. Happy to be joined now by Zoe Cadman, former jockey, now in town for XBTV, doing some racing analysis and commentary. Good morning, Zoe.
Hi. Delighted to be here. You have a fantastic set.
Oh, we have the best set in all of horse racing. Although the other day, was it Friday, I think it was, and this is the second time this has happened in 2 years. Loose horse came to the front of the tent, looked in, debated about coming in, and then, like last year, kind of trotted on, and they caught the horse a few yards away. Luckily, no damage done. But yeah, we almost had live horses a couple of times.
Would have been a good interview.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would work out, but so far so good as far as the horse visits. But it is a great location here. Let's talk a little bit about you and your background before you got into the television side of the game. You had kind of a brief but successful riding career out in the, Chicago area mainly.
Chicago, definitely. I came over to the States in '94, and basically I worked for Michael Dickinson when I first came over and traveled a lot with the horse for him, and that was my first foray into American racing, and realized I realized I didn't know anything. So I spent about 5 years working for Christopher Speckett after that, and then went to work for Mike Stidham, and he's, oh, why don't you start riding races? And I was just getting all my paperwork straight. I am legal now, by the way. And got it all straightened up, and he's like, I'm going to put you on your first horse, just don't fall off it. And she won first time out for me, just hanging on with no whip. Now, the second day was a little harder. It was raining, I pulled all my goggles down, I couldn't hit the horse, it was a disaster, but 3.5 years later, I hung up my tack, and they called me from Arlington, the TV department, and said, hey, do you fancy trading your whip for a microphone? And it basically escalated from there.
And again, it was successful because you wound up being the leading female rider out at Arlington.
At Hawthorne in Chicago,
Hawthorne,
the other track. I was the leading apprentice at Arlington, and spent a few long, cold winters at Hawthorne down there. It's not very nice. I was just dying to come west to California.
And talk a little bit about what got you into the horse racing game in the first place.
I had ponies as a kid. I grew up doing pony club and eventing. My first job was actually as a working pupil, which is dressage, show jumping, and cross country. And we got a lot of yearlings into break at that time that were moving on to be racehorses. And I actually liked it. I rode out and rode some point-to-points when I was a kid. And I gradually made my way to Newmarket and worked for Sir Mark Prescott for about a couple of years before I came stateside to work for Dickinson. So it was always there. I wanted to be a jockey in England, but in England it's impossible. It's just impossible. I chose the easy way out and came to the States.
Impossible, like harder overall or harder for a woman?
Back then, 20 years ago, I'm aging myself.
Well, even as I'm thinking about it, even now, because I covered the news around around the world, really, for the Equidaily website, and even now, there was Haley Turner, or is she Australia?
She's English.
There was like the
Haley's
two
good.
over the past 5 years or so.
It's very tough, and especially 20 years ago, it was tough. You need the right backing, you need the right way in, and at that time, to be perfectly honest, that's probably pretty useless. So, it was better that I waited.
And again, you had a brief but successful career. What was the impetus to move out since you were doing so well?
I just had pretty much just had enough. I mean, for me, it's always been an all or nothing. You're either there at 5 in the morning and you're working your proverbial butt off, or you're not. And I didn't want to work quite so hard, and at the same time, I didn't want someone saying, oh, well, Zoe's not coming out. She's here at 8 o'clock. What's she doing? So that was it. I quit. I got married. I got divorced, and I moved to California.
Very good. And now, again, on the front side of the camera, doing some coverage of the races and commentary and whatnot. How do you like that?
It's fun. One day I'll say what I really think.
Keep that on the down
That might be my last.
That's the way we all feel. But you're out here, and you got to keep it on the up and up, and we will do that with some thoughts about the weekend racing because, again, you're commentating and analyzing some of the races, and I wanted to go back and get some of your thoughts on a couple of nice stakes over the weekend. First up, pull up a replay of the Bowling Green with Flintshire, and as a former jockey, I'll be interested to hear your opinion too, because as they went by us the first time on the front stretch, man, they had him in a jackpot. They had him boxed, and then they pass him, giving Javier some room to kind of pull out and make his move here. And I'll tell people to watch as he goes by him. He takes a little look over his shoulder at those other jocks. I don't know what he was thinking exactly, but he goes right by. He had him measured.
Well, many people think he was just sticking his tongue out, but he said he was actually just looking over because the horse drifted in a bit and just checking everyone was okay, and most likely saying, hey, you want to try and keep me in? You can't. And, you know, sometimes a four-horse race is very, very troublesome. Like, the most trouble I've ever been into is been in a four-horse race. But even if he stays on the inside, I think he wins. I mean, the horse just has so much talent. They brought him over here. They're obviously searching for an Eclipse Award with him. He's done everything they've asked of him, and he is the best turf horse in North America, no question. The turn of foot, Javier Castellano simply saying, it was just a paid workout. You know, he came home in blistering fast time. They went slow. I mean, I'm not sure. I mean, the internal fractions, 119 for 3/4, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, and at top of the stretch, it looked like, oh, it might not be his day. But
no,
again, once he got out and saw it, it just seemed like he had him measured in there. So it was impressive. It's going to be fun to see him go on. And it's always fun up here at Saratoga to see. I mean, that is literally a world-class horse. A term like that gets thrown around. But, you know, France, Hong Kong, and now a couple of times up here at Saratoga. I guess we'll get to see him once more before the end of the meet.
$8 million in earnings plus. I mean, that is a well-traveled horse. And Judmont and the whole team have done a fantastic job with him, and Chad Brown has been very complimentary of them because basically he got a champion just to keep ticking over. And, I mean, it's always a lot of pressure if you're a trainer getting a horse like that because all eyes are on you if he's not quite the same, and he obviously is.
All right, let's go to the feature on Saturday. The Jim Dandy lead-in, obviously, to the Travers later in the meet. And are you in town for the whole meet?
We'll be leaving on Wednesday. We'll be back for Travers Week. We've been here getting a lot of morning workouts and just, you know, other stuff.
Sure. Jim Dandy, a little bit of an upset. Well, maybe a big upset since it was the rank outsider, 27-1. And we had Eric Yeo here with us on the set yesterday. Certainly entertaining in the winner's circle with a Guillot horse winning, but Leoban takes him all the way around, kind of walks on the front end. Governor Malibu validates his troubled trip in the Belmont Stakes, runs third. Destin Mohaymen disappointing, and Creator. I said earlier when Andy was on, I just think he's up against it with the fractions. Andy made the point that, you know, probably shouldn't have run last in here. He is getting worked on, but I'm kind of going to give Creator a pass with the fractions. But Leoban breaks his maiden in the Jim Dandy.
I mean, it's fantastic. It really is. It's good for horse racing. I went by and saw Eric this morning. He said the horse is still tired, obviously. But, you know, he's just a good horse, and he's by Uncle Mo, probably the best stallion in the world right now, apart from Tappet, as far as this year's runners go and last year's. And he's just a good horse. He tries hard. He's finally broke his maiden. I was in the Jim Dandy. I was speaking to Eric this morning. He goes, I didn't know they had $600,000 maiden races at Saratoga. I love this place. So I asked him, obviously the Travers will be next. We spoke about Exaggerator winning the Haskell, and he simply said, if it's raining for the Travers, he's not running his horse. He will not run him in the mud.
Okay, interesting.
So, you know, we'll have to see what the weather does with him.
Let's go back to the beginning of the meet and get some opinions, because California-based, you've probably seen her before. Oh boy, Songbird was spectacular.
She really is a true champ, and kudos to Jerry and the team to bring her out here. Obviously, there's not many 3-year-old races in Southern California for straight 3-year-old fillies, hence they came here. But she's just a special filly, and I'm very lucky that I'm pretty close to the Holland Norfolk barn, so I get to go by and feed her mints. And most fillies are a little bitchy, and they're mean, and they have a mean streak, because that's what it takes for them to be good, not her. You could, like, walk a little 3-year-old kid into the stall and she'd kiss it. She is just the sweetest, most talented, most brilliant filly I think I've ever been around. And she showed it. She showed a grittiness that she's never had to display before. She's a champion.
Yeah, and Mike Smith said after the race, and as a former jockey, I wonder if you agree, when they get tested like that, when it's a ding-dong battle, they'll come out of it and be even better.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's never been tested. So that was her showing her true mettle. She's come out of the race. She went back to the track the day before yesterday. She galloped for the first morning yesterday morning, and she looks as good as she was beforehand. I spoke to Jerry, and he was a little concerned that she might have lost some weight. I've seen her a lot, and I can tell you she looks exactly the same now as she did going into the race.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing her again. It's just it's a crazy meet as far as getting the top contenders in the various divisions. So, and we're still early, so it will continue. But a horse that we're not likely to see here, but you may have seen out in Southern California, and like an opinion, California Chrome. Have you gotten a chance to see him over the past couple months?
A lot. And I think the race that we saw at Del Mar was fantastic between him and Dortmund. Chrome needed it, Dortmund needed it, and that was a fantastic horse race. I mean, that's what the people wanted to see in the San Diego when they went to Del Mar that day. I don't think either horse lost anything. Dortmund didn't for sure lose anything in defeat, and he's going to move forward. He's a bigger, stronger horse than we've seen in years past. 1,400 pounds. He's just a complete monster. Chrome, well, Chrome's just Chrome. So I think the Pacific Classic's going to be a fantastic renewal. Whether we see Beholder, I don't know. Richard Mandela is going to monitor her. In my mind, she didn't lose anything when she lost the other day. She got tested by a very, very good filly in Stellar Wind.
Yeah, I think Stellar Wind, you don't think that she was beaten by a tomato can by any. Stellar Wind's a very, very lightly raced.
Lightly raced.
But I think there's still a lot of potential there for that one.
You know, she's been chasing Beholder. Dick says maybe he didn't get Beholder tight enough. You know, when she romped in the Pacific Classic, he put the screws to her about 10 days before, and he never has. He didn't do this time around. So, I don't know, we'll see. She's got nothing to lose. She's been beat before. It's not like she hasn't been beaten before. So, hopefully she'll come back and we'll see her in the Classic as well.
Very good. And speaking of fabulous females on the racetrack, you said you were over watching the workouts this morning before we came on the air, and you mentioned a very prominent name, Lady Eli. How'd she look?
Absolutely. They had turf works over at Oklahoma, which I was surprised about. But in fact, watching them, it still seems like it's pretty firm out there. And Lady Eli worked on the inside of C. Khaleesi. For Chad Brown, there were only about 6 or 7 workers out there, and she looks fantastic. I stopped by the barn a few days ago and spoke to Chad about Lady Eli, who, of course, is targeting the Bowling Green with her, and we stood outside her stall. Boston Spa.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, Bowling Green was this weekend. She has a cone outside her stall. I said, what's that for? He said, she's as mean as a snake. So there are the parallels between Lady Eli and Songbird, and it's not bad, but she will bite the hand that feeds her. So he gave me a mint to feed her, and she was actually very sweet, but she is a bear, and she looked super this morning training. To come back from what she's come back from, laminitis, even to be alive, I hate to say that, but to come back and be in training and be pointing towards some really good races against some of the best turf horses in the country is just amazing. It's a testament to her and the team and to Chad Brown.
And that's part of what I love about racing. As I say, I do the Equidaily website, so I go out and search news stories. And those stories, and this will be a great story if she comes back and can kind of get close to what she was before. Again, that'll be a great story, which could play out up here at Saratoga. And speaking of stories in Saratoga and great horses and whatnot, you never rode up here, did you?
No, I came up here with Michael Dickinson. In fact, I haven't been here for the races since '99. I've been here in the off season, but I actually haven't been up here. And it's just, if people have not been to Saratoga, they are truly missing out. It is fantastic.
Yeah, and talk a little bit about, I always say this, and I like to emphasize it, it's not just within the fence around the racetrack. What makes it so special is the town, and you go into the restaurants and people are talking racing. It's all racing all the time here.
It's history. I mean, it's proper horse racing. The fields are great. The racing is fantastic. It's everywhere you look, there's history. And as a fan coming in, they have, you know, the little golf cart tours that take you all over the backside, and you can get lost back here. I've already been lost several times. We've got Clare Court behind us. You have horses at the harness track. You've got horses on the main track, horses on Oklahoma. There's just so much to see and so much to do here. I mean, I love Del Mar, but for me, I'd much rather be at Saratoga.
That's what we like to hear. Although I have to say, as a beach person myself, I see that shot they take across the street at the beach, and I got to get out there.
Yeah, you have to come visit.
No question about it. Have you tried the water here?
It's fantastic.
Some of it. You got to pick your spots. You got to pick the spots for that spring water.
Okay.
Some of it's.
I haven't had any bad water yet.
Go try the big
of
red.
Any color.
Try the big red spring out in the backyard, and then report back to me.
Is that not good?
Well, some people like it. We'll see. That's why I say report back. All right, we'll wrap things up. Zoe Cadman again in town for XBTV, covering some of the meat. And as I say, former writer, now television analyst and commentator. We appreciate the visit, and good luck on the rest of the meet.
Thank you so much. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. All right, we will head to our break. When we come back, it is Ellen McHale. We're going to talk a little bit about her book, Stable Views, Stories and Voices from the Thoroughbred Racetrack, maybe some summertime reading material. Stay tuned.
I'm Mark Cassano. Join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch. We'll inform, analyze, and welcome in the biggest names in racing. So join me Saturday mornings at 10 for Down the Stretch, right here on the OTB television network.
I got it. Watch me. I got it. Hey! I got something that makes me want to shout. I got something that tells me what it's all about. I got a move that tells me what to do. If you don't, brothers and sisters, then you won't know what it's all about.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System. Never get shut out again.
This is Racing Across America with Seth Merrow.
Welcome back to Racing Across America. Again, before the break, I noted we'll give you a suggestion here for some summertime reading because there is plenty of summer left, a lot of racing, so you can tie them together with Ellen McHale's new book, Stable Views, Stories and Voices from the Thoroughbred Racetrack. Good morning, Ellen.
Good morning.
Happy to have you on board to talk a little bit about the book, the research you did for it, and whatnot. Before we do that, though, just doing my research last night, I found that you were the executive director of the New York Folklore Society.
I am.
I didn't know there was such a thing. What is it?
Well, it's a not-for-profit. It's statewide, and we are there to help and support traditional arts and culture as it occurs in the state.
Okay.
And we're based in Schenectady, so we're close to Saratoga.
And so now I'll tie it in. Folklore Society, you're right in Schenectady. What was the impetus for writing the book? Were you so close to the racetrack you wanted to tie things together?
Yes, yes. I had done some work for the Racing Museum several years ago, collecting oral histories in the backstretch, and I just got hooked. And because I'm a folklorist, I guess I'm the state folklorist, I was interested in the stories that you find in the backstretch. So I just kept going, coming back every summer for a long time.
And reading the information on the book, it seems like this was a long-term project.
It was. I think I started in 2000, so it was a long haul, and I actually spent summers here when Saratoga was opening, and I didn't go anywhere else. But then in 2012, I got a fellowship from the Library of Congress, and that allowed me to travel. So I was able to go to other tracks and other training facilities, so I could expand what I was talking to.
And we have some shots of the cover of the book and some shots from inside the book as well. There are some nice pages of photographs, and there's the cover of the book, Stable Views, Stories and Voices from the Thoroughbred Racetrack. Just give us a little overview of what the book's about.
It's it's the words and the stories of those who work in the backstretch. So I was interested in talking to trainers who are not large trainers, but those who have smaller stables, and exercise riders and grooms particularly, to get their first-person accounts of what it's like to work in the backstretch, and I try to use their words. So it's not a, I transcribed a lot of the interviews and I used their actual words.
And was there, again, you visited various racetracks and talked to various folks involved with horse racing, kind of behind the scenes and whatnot. Was there any overarching theme you found from these various people?
Well, I was really interested in work in general, so that's the focus of the book, and how the community is really is founded on work, and so that's the theme. Is really how do people? It's a way of life, more than just making a living, and I wanted to really capture the essence of how people live and work in this environment and the connections that they make with each other.
Interesting. Was there anything over the course of talking to the people, researching and putting the book together, anything that you found, oh, that was something that I totally didn't see coming?
Well, I think what blew my mind is when I went to Florida and found people I had been seeing all the time in Saratoga. And I all of a sudden realized that this connection that's bigger than Saratoga, it's a geographic connection, was there. And I actually got a chance to speak to people like Ray Amato, who's a farrier here, who I tried for years to get a hold of him, but I never could get to the track early enough. And then I go to Florida, and there he is. So I think that was the eye-opening point of time when I realized that it was much bigger than just one place.
And talk a little bit about the various places you went and how Saratoga fits into the racing community overall.
Well, I actually, in the scheme of things, I probably didn't see as many places as I could have. I went to Tampa Bay. I went to the training facility in Florida.
Palmettos.
Thank you. I went to Louisiana, and I went to Kentucky and then Saratoga. So, so I made sort of a northeast and southeast circuit. And I think the connections just with Saratoga is that there is a certain circuit that people do ride. And I had people say to me, no matter where I go, I can walk onto a racetrack and I know people. I've seen people before and people know me. So it's really a very, it's a community that's not constricted by geography so much. It's wider than just one place.
And how's the feedback on the book? Because I find it intriguing. We try to do it here on the show to bring people here to sit down who are maybe a little more behind the scenes. Because I think if you're a race fan, you're familiar with the trainers, you're familiar with the jockeys and some of the things that go on the front side. But things like the farriers and that kind of thing that go on, people probably realize that happens, but just don't realize how many of those kind of people are back here that you don't think of on a day-to-day basis. So is the feedback saying, gee, I never thought about that, but it was great to hear from those kind of people.
Yes, definitely. And also, it's nice to get some feedback from the people themselves. We had an exhibit that went around that was a companion piece to the book, nice. Which is no longer up right now. But it was nice to have people from the backstretch come to the exhibition and stay for the entire period of time that it was, we had a reception, for example. And so I felt like there was some support from the folks themselves that I spoke to.
And are you a racing fan yourself?
I didn't spend a lot of time with the races before I started doing this. I really am interested in the working side. I love watching the races, and I love going to them, but I never really was a racing fan, but now I've become one.
There you go. And so maybe the book itself will develop some new fans too, because as I say, I think it's intriguing to hear stories from the various people around the racetrack. And as you know, it is a lot. There is a work ethic there that I think everybody can appreciate, and maybe that'll pull people into the game too.
Yeah, and I tried to make it very accessible, so so that people can read it. And again, it's in the words of the folks who I interviewed. So, so yes, hopefully people will find some information there that's useful.
Do you have a count how many interviews are included in the book? Interviewees?
I don't know about in the book. I think I interviewed about 50 people all told, and the interviews are all archived at the Library of Congress. So they actually asked me to do the interviews for them. So it's all part of a project they have called America Works, and I was asked to talk to people at the racetrack. So there's about 50 interviews all told, and they are going to be digitized. People can hear them online.
Oh, nice. So then this is part of a bigger project looking at working America, but this is you were the subset of the racetrack.
Exactly.
Nice. That's what we like the racetrack to be in those kind of projects.
Yes, and they wanted to expand their collection and have people's voices who aren't represented in the library.
Very good.
So, yeah.
Talk a little bit about, before we let you go, where people can find the book, and you have a book signing coming up as well.
I have a book signing tomorrow night at Northshire Bookstore, just on Broadway in Saratoga Springs. It starts at 6. And so we'll have books there, and I'll be signing for them. You can also get them at the New York Folklore Society's website. We're selling them, and also you can get them through Amazon.
Okay, so Amazon online, but swing on up to Saratoga tomorrow, Northshire, which is right in the midst of downtown Saratoga. Swing by there 6 o'clock tomorrow night?
6 o'clock,
for
yes.
a signing. So get a signed book. That'll be fun. Okay. Again, some good summertime reading. Ellen, we appreciate the visit, and good luck with the book.
Thank you very much.
Ellen McHale, again, the book is Stable Views, Stories and Voices from the Thoroughbred Racetrack, all of which brings us to the end of this edition of Racing Across America. Another jam-packed show. Val Buck, Act Naturally, is her organization up in Cambridge. They do great work. Again, you can swing by her website. It's actnaturally.org, act with 2 T's. And you can find the information on, there you go. You can find information on the event coming up Wednesday night. If Wishes Were Horses at the Saratoga Winery, highly recommended. Andy Serling gave us some ideas for today. Zoe Cadman with some conversation. Good to hear from her. That Lady Eli was working out the other day. And again, Ellen McHale and the book Stable Views. All right, going to wrap things up for this Monday edition. Of course, Tuesday, dark day, so we won't be back until Wednesday. But as I say, sun's coming out here, trying to peek out, so we'll hope it's a dry day. At least we are off the turf. Don't forget, there's a duffel bag giveaway, free with paid admission while supplies last. Should be a fun day today. So enjoy the races, cash a few tickets. We'll see you back here for the Handicappers Report at 9 o'clock on Wednesday.
You've been watching Racing Across America with Seth Merrow. Racing Across America has been brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. Thoroughfan, giving the fan a voice. Find them at thoroughfan.com. And Woodbine Racetrack, pick, bet, and cheer on world-class horse racing north of the border.
You're watching OTB TV.